Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Give It a Year with me, Jenny Q, and welcome to my podcast diary. This week's episode is called It Is Simple, and it really is, and I will jump into that in a moment. I do just want to thank everyone who keeps coming back, and to anyone new who's checking out this episode before any of the others. I want to keep it really, really short. I say that all the time. I want to keep it really, really short because I'm tired. It's been busy in my life. So tonight's podcast diary is a reflection with a touch of commentary. And maybe another week, in weeks to come, I'll write poetry or something to share. But for tonight, it's a little bit of an observation, commentary type thing. And I will tell you what the it is, and it is simple. But before I do, just a reminder, I do have 4 podcast promises. They're written up in the bio. Be sure to check those out. And without further ado, I am going to move forward and share my thoughts in this diary, in these pages of this diary. So welcome. It is actually Tuesday, and the reason, if you're only hearing this episode, you haven't heard the others, one of my promises is that I'll be here every Tuesday. But last week, I wasn't here on Tuesday because Canada Day was on Wednesday, so I did my podcast intentionally on a Wednesday. And then the week before that, it took me till Friday. It was a bit of a busy, heavy week. And that is part of what has led me to design or share or create or commentate on today's topic. So the it in the It Is Simple is life. Now, I know you're sitting there and you're thinking, Jenny Q, what the heck? Substitute whatever word you want. What the heck are you talking about? Life is not simple. Now, I'm going to say, yes, it is. It's not always easy, but it's simple. And I am saying this from a place of someone who has made life complicated for a very long time, and as someone who has been to many counselors, had several mentors, read many books, and studied many people who teach about the mind. And it really is as simple as life is action plus decision, and you can invert it the other way. It's decision plus action, and that's life. When you do action just independent of itself with no reason or rhyme or reason, whichever way that goes, it often doesn't lead to anything because there's no purpose behind it. And I don't mean it has to be a big, huge purpose, but if your purpose is to get to work faster and you don't make a and your action is you get in your car and you go, if you don't make a decision to look at a map or listen to a GPS, you're not going to get there any faster, right? As a weird example. So I'm only sharing this tonight because I have been working on, I've mentioned a few times I have a workshop, and since my book study last month in May, or was it May? Yeah, May and June, I've really worked on it, and for the first time since I've conceived of my workshop and how I want it out there, for the first time I've actually been able to put together a proposal that I want to submit to agencies that support people who are struggling with mental health, addiction, and or homelessness. So I'll use this as my example, and then I'm going to share a little bit of a commentary, and then I'm going to head out because I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just sharing a revelation. I'm sharing a aha moment, one of those. So, for example, I have had the idea of doing this workshop and bringing it to people in the community I just described for a long time, at least since 2020, because, and I'll explain why. Because when I was going through all of the crap I went through in my life, losing a lot of people, my marriage ending, the accident that happened recently, all of those things, right? As I was going through all of those things, I would always turn to my art. I would I would create something, I would write a story, I would make a video, I would do a reel for my Instagram. I would do something creative, basically, is what it was. And I know that for a lot of people, sometimes it's hard to access somewhere to do art. And I believe, I'm not saying I'm an authority on this, but this is my belief from my experience in my life and the people I've connected with and other artists. The people who need to create art the most are the ones who don't have an easy life. And I think part of what makes life complicated for them is they don't understand the simplicity of it. What happens is they get caught making decisions, but they don't follow through with action. And when you don't follow through with action, those decisions end up in your head and they end up in your imagination and they get stuck there and they go down rabbit holes of fear and doubt and insecurity. And then they circle back up because the thing that you're making a decision on is very valid. And you should make a decision on whatever it is that is important to you. But if you don't take the action that goes along with that decision, it becomes bigger than what it is. It becomes a monster. It becomes a mountain. It becomes insurmountable. And then unfortunately it takes you down a side road of self-deprecation, inability, it freezes you, it does all those things. Now I'm not going to pretend to be an authority on all those things. I just know I've lived those things. So for example, I have known since 2020 that I wanted to do this workshop and I knew how I wanted to put it out. I even had it in my mind. I had a lot of the details already there. It took me until finishing that book study and exploring with AI a little bit. And now I have a full proposal that's ready to go. And so I'm in a position now where I can reach out to the agencies and say, look what I've created. I would love to do this with the people you support. But I haven't, because I've made a decision that I want to do this, but I haven't taken the action. And the action is simple. I just need to send an email. And now I'm complicating the email. Why? I'm complicating the email because I am afraid. I am scared. I am worried that it will not be accepted, that it won't be good enough. And it goes back to those old thought habits. So, as I've been thinking about this, I procrastinated today. I've reviewed my proposal. It is beautiful. It's wonderful. And if I reach my goal at this time next year, I will have done enough workshops that I've worked with 300 people or not, if not more. And we will be mounting the first ever big showcase celebration of all of those people. And that's my dream. That's my goal. And then I want to repeat that the rest of my life. So for the remaining years of my life, 300 people a year, 400 people a year. How cool is that? It's big. It's wonderful. And it just requires decision, which I already have in my head. I want this, but I need to take the action. And the action does not have to be huge. It is as simple as sending an email. It truly, truly is. That's it. Anyway, just a revelation of my own here this evening. And I just wanted to share it because if you're someone who feels like life is hard and life isn't being fair and, you know, all of those other things, I will be the first to admit life is very hard for some people, especially people who are abused, who are neglected, for people who struggle with addiction, homelessness, job loss, ending of marriages. Like there's so many reasons that life can be difficult. But life doesn't stop there. You have to make a decision of what to do. You can stay victim, or you can move forward and find a different path, or you can try and make whatever is not working work, or you can either go this way or that way. You can go up or down, you can sit still, or you can take action. And if you take action with your decision, then life will evolve, life will change. And if you happen to make a decision and take an action that is no good, then that's okay. Then you make another decision and you take another action. And then you keep doing that until you get where you need to go. So I need to decide, which I already have, I need to send this email to CMHA, which is the Canadian Mental Health Association, and see if they would be interested in working with me. That's it. See how simple that is? And so I just have to pair that decision with that action, and I will keep you posted on that. And that's it. That's tonight's episode. I wanted to remind everybody who listens that life right now for many people is difficult, can feel difficult, and actually is difficult. But life is very simple. It's making a decision and putting an action to it. Period. That's it. That's it. Now, a decision on its own, I just want to wrap up by saying this. Decision on its own is empty because without follow through, as I already kind of alluded to, you're going to end up in your brain and go down rabbit holes, and it's going to be an awful experience for you. And the thing is, going back to my workshop, and why I think it's so important, is being creative, whether it's music, painting, story writing, doing improv, whatever it is. It allows you to share and get rid of those rabbit holes and those fears, and you can kind of face them. And that's why I want to do the workshop, because the people who I feel need this workshop need somewhere to put those thoughts, those ideas, those emotions, those feelings. Because if you keep them in your head, they're going to weigh you down. So, yeah, that's it. So, the final points I want to make are that part of the reason life feels like it's so hard is because of many reasons I've discussed in previous episodes. Number one, AI, I feel, this is just my observation again, it makes it seem like we're not smart enough because AI is so fast. At least that's been my experience. Like, you look at AI and you're like, oh my God, AI can put this together. Why couldn't I do that? Why I should be able to do that, blah, 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 blah. AI is a tool, at least at the experience I've had. It just is actually helping you do things faster. You plug in the details, but the idea is yours. And then you have to make a decision to go with it. Social media plays life up to be very complicated. And it does that by a lot of things where there's a lot of people out there on social media who are trying to sell you stuff. They're trying to sell you solutions and how they can help you and heal you and all these things. And if you just pause and stay inside and you ask yourself, what can I do to become healthy? What can I do to make more money? What can I do to move? What can I do to build a business? If you sit with yourself, there's going to be answers that come up, and then you try it and it doesn't work, then you move forward. You use technology, you use resources, and you try and figure it out. You do have to go outside yourself, but ultimately you need to stay within yourself and listen. But social media tells you otherwise, and they sensationalize things. Oh my God, you have a fungus on your toenail, your whole foot could fall off unless you buy our solution, or unless you do 20 calf raises, or whatever silly thing is out there. And then, of course, the old standard of fear, and it creates, like I said, that illusion that something is way bigger than what it is. For example, my email. It's an email. If it's a bad email, a good email, it really doesn't matter. If someone's interested and they're looking to find programming for the people they support, they might still reach out. And there's nothing saying I can't follow back up, right? So there, that's it. That is it. I hope I brought this across and it makes sense to you. But yeah, that's it. So whether you believe me or not, life really is that simple. Decision and action, and that will take you in whatever direction. And if you end up in somewhere that you don't like, then you make another decision and take more action. And that's what makes life. Because otherwise you're going to sit in a room by yourself doing nothing and getting lost in your brain. And I've done that way too much. And it's not a good, happy, healthy place to be. So, As I end off every episode, I'm going to ask you something, leave you with a question and idea. So, I've shared with you what's stopping me is the fear that my emails is not going to be good enough. Well, next week I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you and update you on how the email went. So my question for you is, what is stopping you from taking action on anything? What is stopping you? Is it AI? Is it fear? Is it social media? Is it doubt? Is it someone else's opinion? Just stop and sit with yourself and think about that for a moment or two. And on that note, of course, I am going to remind everyone very quickly that it is so important for all of us to always share our smile, share our love, our kindness, and share our laughter. Because that also is how simple it is. You make the decision to do those 3 things and actually follow through and do those 3 things, and life gets sweeter, more fun, and better. I know, because I've been doing it for the last 6 years. Have a great week, everybody. I will be back next week on Tuesday, and we will find out how my letter went. Good luck with the rest of your week, and remember, keep it simple, even if it's hard.